Okay, this is ratios, also with proportions, right? So a proportion is pretty much two equal ratios. A ratio is just honestly a fraction, right? So the fraction version of this is 4/5. So it have the ratio of cats and dogs is 4/5. There are 320 dogs. How many cats, right? I can rewrite that ratio as 4/5. You can also write ratios like this, 4/5, or you could just spell it out 4/5. All right. But with this, we're trying to figure out how many cats. We have two sets of information for dogs, right? We know that cats represents 4 and dogs represents 5 because 4 comes first and cats comes first, right? Cats come first, 4 come first, dogs come second, 5 come second. So we have two information for dogs. We have this bit of information here with the 5, and then we have another set of information here with 320 dogs. So if we have two sets of information on one of the items, that means we can set up equivalent fractions or equal fractions or what we call proportions. They're all the same thing. Equivalent fraction, equal fractions, or proportions. So I would say 4/5 equal, and my 4 represents what? Cats. So I would write that down here. My 5 represents dogs. Equals, we're looking for cats. So I'm going to call it C. This is what we're looking for. Cats, right? But they told me how many dogs. I have two sets of information for dogs. This is why I can set up the two fractions equal to each other. 320 dogs. Okay? So with this, we cross multiply, or what I also call it is you x multiply, right? Because it sets up an x. So I would say 5 times c equal 4 times 320, right? So this is 5c. Now, keep in mind, you cannot put the 320 up here because this is not in relation to the cat. Cats, all of the cat stuff go on top, all of the dog stuff go on the bottom. If you put the 5 on top and the 4 on the bottom, then you would have to switch this words here, switch these words. You have the 5 up top, and you have the 320 on top. It'll be the same thing, just you have to set up like this. This is also equal to this. 5/4 equal to 320 over c. All right. But on this one, it's just dogs on top, cats at the bottom. So it doesn't matter how you set it up. You're still going to cross multiply. All right. So come back here, down to here. So 5c is the same thing as 5c. 5 times c is the same thing as 5c, right? Any letter, any integer next to a letter is just that's just multiplication. And then 4 times 320, that is 1,280, right? That's the math over there, 1,280. Then we bring this down. Okay, so we need this to look like c equals something, right? Because at the end of the day, our c tells us how many cats. This is c. How many cats? We need to figure it out, right? So this needs to say c equals something. Whenever you have something that is unknown like c, or sometimes it's like x equals something, anything you decide to choose, it needs to end up like this, x equals something. So you have to get it by itself. And to get it by itself, we just put it over 5, right? This integer here, or you call it dividing by 5, because anything over itself is just 1. So we can cross both of those out, 1 and 1, doesn't matter. All right, and then whatever we do on one side of the equal sign, we have to do to the next. So this is 1,280 divided by 5. So let's do the math over here. All right, 1,280. Let's divide by 5. All right, so as we did the math over here, we can see that 5 goes into 1,280, 256 times. Therefore, right, C is equal to 256. Okay, so that tells us how many cats there are. And then we ask ourselves, does it make sense? So I could I could put this right back into the ratio, into the proportion, right? So the ratio here. So I can go 4 over 5 equal 256 over 320. And once I reduce this, it's an even number. So I can reduce this several times using tools and that. Once I reduce this all the way down, I'm going to get 4 over 5. That's where my ratio is going to be 4 over 5 equal 4 over 5. So I know my answer will be correct. So the answer to the question of how many cats right here, 256. And it makes sense because your ratio is 4 to 5. That means it's close, right? For every nine animals, there's 4 cats, there's 5 dogs. So it shouldn't be too far off from 320. And 256 isn't that far off.